Okay, welcome to our very first virtual information session. I'm so glad all of you could join us. Before we get started, I'm going to go through some event logistics. Flower, if you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, first off, this event is being recorded. So we will be posting it on our YouTube page. So if anyone you know was unable to attend this morning or this evening, I know for some of you it's the evening time, we will be able to, we'll have that link posted on our International Student Orientation webpage where everyone can access the recording of this session. At the time, please keep your camera and your microphone off. At the end of the session, we'll be taking questions. And so you'll be able to turn on your camera and your microphone and ask questions, or you'll be able to type in questions at the end. And so we'll have plenty of time for questions about our department or other questions that you might have. There are captions available, so if you need extra language support, you can click on the 3 dots at the top of the screen, and you can see I put a screenshot here in the as a picture on the screen. And so you can click on that, and there's a drop-down option that'll show you, and you can choose captions to print out words at the bottom of the screen. And so you'll be able to get that extra language support if you need it. However, without further ado, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Leticia, our director. So next slide, please.
Thank you very much, Katie. Good morning or evening to everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Next slide, please, Flower. We really hope that you enjoy it, and congratulations on your decision to study at UT Dallas. We are so happy. My name is Leticia Samarripa. I'm Director of Global Engagement in charge of the Intercultural Programs Office here at UT Dallas. And just as a reference, our department reports to the Dean of Student Office, and we belong to the Student Affairs Division. This is the first of our series of live information session as part of your International Student Orientation. As you know, these are optional, and that's why we are so happy you're here to take advantage of this information that we will be providing you all through the summer, pretty much on a weekly basis on different topics. As already mentioned, we are recording this session, so you can always go back for reference. We will have the link for you to access them later directly to our through our orientation webpage. So you will have that reference there. We really want you to start feeling part of our community, not only in your classes, but also beyond your classes. Starting in August, our events will start going back to be in person. However, we have learned through the pandemic that we would like to keep on offering virtual programs as well for easy access to the different student communities. So we will have both. You will have the opportunity to join us also during the summer. We do have, and my staff will let you know, some programming that we have planned for the summer in addition to this information session. So we will have plenty of activity. The main objective of these sessions is to bring you the opportunity to ask questions. We will do this at the end, just for logistics. We will let you know when we can start receiving your question. And if you wish, this is not mandatory. If you wish, turn your camera on just for an opportunity for all the attendees to get to know you. But you don't have to. If you don't feel comfortable doing this at this time, or were not prepared to do so, that's fine. It is completely optional. But yes, bring us your questions. We're here for you. So let's start. Next slide, please, Flower. First of all, I would like to introduce the staff of intercultural programs. We are 4 people. You know me already. My name is Leticia Samarripa. I would like to introduce you also to Catherine Russo. She is known by Katie, and she is our assistant director. As well, I would like to introduce you to Tamara West. She is our program coordinator. And we do have a student worker with us, Flower Mangui. She's been with us over a year already, and we are very, very happy always to have a student worker with us because it brings a lot of perspective on the student side. Her position is International Peer Advocate. So you will be in touch with all of us, and we are a multicultural team, just as a reference. I am from Mexico, Katie is from the US, Tamara is from Jamaica, and Flower is from Kenya. So we look forward to help you through your transition at UT Dallas. Next slide, please, Flower. Now, let me talk a little bit about what we do, why we are here. As you may know, UT Dallas is home of over 4,000 international students. And this is a wonderful opportunity for you to study in a very, very multicultural campus. Our main mission, we have 2 main parts of our mission. The first one is we are part of the mission supporting you to integrate into campus life. So we dedicate a lot of time in trying to help international students to integrate into campus life through different programs. We offer transitional programs, and Katie will talk about them, and Tamara as well. And we do offer a lot of support programs on different topics just for you to feel supported through your stay at UT Dallas. The other part, which is also very important, is that we promote global engagement among the UT Dallas community. That is, we try to raise awareness, excuse me, and appreciation for the different cultures that are represented here at UT Dallas. I already mentioned that we have over 4,000 international students, but I would like to mention as well that we have about a little bit above of 100 countries represented, which is it's a privilege for UT Dallas. So those are the 2 main parts of our mission. And before we will go more in specifics concerning what specific programs we have. Tamara and Katie will mention them. But before we go into more in-depth concerning our own office, I would like to mention very quickly 4 topics that we know are sometimes of concerns, or students have a little bit more questions about it. And those 4 topics are immigration. I just want to let you know that the office that is in charge of immigration topics, you must know by now, is the International Student and Scholar Office. They call it ISSO. And Tamara, if you could please post the link to the email where you can ask any question that you might have concerning immigration, concerning visa, concerning the services abroad to process your visa, anything related to immigration. Please feel free to contact ISSO. In terms of academics, we know some students are wondering, am I going to get on time? What type of courses to take? How can I register? Maybe some of you know already by now, but the first main step concerning academics is to make a direct contact with your program advisor. that he or she can solve you in different ways all your questions concerning academics, and also to help you register. We really encourage you to register early, just because you will have much more options in terms of courses. But any question concerning academics, please contact your program advisor. And again, we are posting this on our chat on how to find your program advisor, whether if you are undergraduate or graduate. Some people have already established contact. If not, please look at this link that we are posting and find your program advisor. Another question that we usually have is the finances. When am I going to pay? How can I pay? And for that topic, we are organizing a very specific a very specific session to discuss everything you need to know concerning finances. For that, there is a designated office, and we call it the Bursar office. That is the name of the office where you can ask any questions concerning finances. But again, we will be offering a very specific session with the Bursar office just to answer all the questions that you may have. And the last one is some clarification concerning the COVID situation. We've been getting a lot of questions asking if the COVID vaccine is mandatory or not at UT Dallas. Right now, UT Dallas highly encourage people to get vaccination for COVID, but it's not mandatory. And that is very important for you to know. It's not mandatory, but it's highly encouraged. Now, if for some reason you have not had you want to have the vaccine, but you have not had the chance to get a vaccine in your home country, just to reiterate that here in the United States, upon arrival, you will be able, if you desire so, to get the vaccine. Now, as you know, there are different types of COVID vaccines, and some people have a preference for one over the other. If you do have a preference for one over the other, we encourage you to make an appointment. We will be sending you a link. Actually, we already did in the last email that we sent you, where you can directly find nearby places where if you insert the UT Dallas zip code, you can find nearby places where you can get a vaccine. Now, the advantage is that if you make an appointment, most of the time you will know in advance which vaccine you're getting. If you really don't care, as long as you get a vaccine, then there are a lot of places already that you can just walk in and get the vaccine. For example, at Walmart, you can get it, or in any other place. So again, it's not mandatory, it's highly recommended, and it will be available here at the United States at your convenience when you get here, if you desire to do. Concerning masks, it's another question. UT Dallas follows the all the guidelines of the Center and Disease Control, Center for Disease Control, which provide guidelines all for United States. And we will be sending you again, we already sent you in an email, which are those guidelines concerning masks. Our governor asked us not to have it as a mandate to wear masks, but again, UT Dallas highly recommend that you use masks according to your vaccination status, which could be different. You will learn about the specific guidelines if you have a moment for the link, or you will receive. So please take a moment to look at them. We will make sure to send it to you by email, not only through this chat, so you can have them with you. So all units at UT Dallas are so eager to get in touch with you. If you have any questions, please feel free to do so. We will continue with our presentation concerning what programs do we manage here at UT Dallas, and I would like to call Katie to continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leticia. Okay, so everybody can hear me correctly? All right. Sorry, we had a little technical difficulty with our PowerPoint, so I'm going to be the one sharing, so I might have to switch back and forth between my camera and my microphone and the presentation. However, so like Leticia said, my name is Katie and I'm the Assistant Director for Intercultural Programs, and I'm going to share with you a little bit of information about our transitional programs that we have for our international students here at UT Dallas. So many of you have been receiving our emails about international student orientation. And so the International Student Orientation for Fall 2021, we have 3 different parts. We have our pre-arrival modules, which I know a lot of you have already completed, so good job. And those are done through e-learning. And the pre-arrival modules are modules online that is information that we felt like you might need before coming to the United States. So before coming to UT Dallas, information about the American education system, about traveling to the US, what is some information that you could kind of get out of the way before you get here, before attending orientation and coming to the US. So kind of that pre-information. And that's part of your international student orientation hold. And then we have our general international student orientation, which for fall 2021 is made up of either in-person orientation or online orientation. So you, depending on your schedule, get to choose how you'd like to take it. You can either do an in-person session, which we have scheduled during August, or you can choose to do it online through e-learning as well, similar to the pre-arrival modules. There's really no difference between the online orientation or the in-person orientation. The presentation will be a similar format. The in-person orientation does give you the opportunity to actually meet some staff members and mix and mingle with other students, but you do have to wait until August to attend it. If you're doing the online orientation, you of course get to do that at your own pace. You get to do it earlier, and so it gives you that opportunity to get it completely out of the way ahead of time. And then we have these sessions, what we are calling live orientation webinars or information sessions. And these are completely optional. We have them about once a week throughout the summer. So we have this one. Next week, we have one with the Bursar office. I'll show you that in a few minutes at the end of the session, what some of our upcoming sessions are. So that's the components of our international student orientation. And I'll send you the link to the International Student Orientation webpage. I think most of you have probably visited our International Student Orientation webpage to see all the different components of international student orientation. And international student orientation is mandatory for all F and J graduate international students. And so it's really helpful for you in your transition to coming to UT Dallas to learn about UTD resources, what assistance UTD can give you in coming to the US, coming to the university, what is available to you as a graduate student and an international student. The reason why it's for graduate students is because if you are a freshman or a transfer student, you'll attend freshman or transfer orientation. They have specific orientation for you that's through those particular departments. And so you are more than welcome to join us for international student orientation. Absolutely. However, you will be required to also attend freshman or transfer orientation. And so we want to make sure that you go to those instead, but you can attend international student orientation as a resource if you would like to as well. But you're not required to attend both of them for the fall 2021 semester. Now I'm going to pass it off to Tamara, and she's going to talk about some of our other transitional presentation or programs.
Good morning. Thank you, Katie. I was trying to unmute myself there for a minute. But hello, everyone. Welcome to you. Good morning or good evening or good night. Thank you so much for joining us today for this international orientation that we are doing. So just extra special welcome to everyone. So as Katie mentioned and Leticia mentioned, my name is Tamara West, and I'm a program coordinator in the Intercultural Programs Office. And so I just want to shed some light for you on some of the programs that we do, transitional programs. So we have some programs that we call them transitional because, as many of you, depending on where you are, if you are outside of America, you are looking to transition to America, right? Transition to Texas, to UT Dallas. And even if we have students watching us from other states, you would be looking to transition to Dallas or to the Texas area. So these programs are programs that we have been doing and we have created to help support our international students and their families as well. So Katie mentioned the orientation events that we have that support you in that way. We have the, okay, sorry, Katie, you haven't spoken about spouse and family as yet, right?
No, I have not.
Okay, sorry. I was answering a question in the chat right before you called my name, so my mind was a little elsewhere. But yes, we have the welcome events typically done by Big Howdy, which typically happens in the fall semester, and that is a really huge shindig. I would say the attendance is generally like literally all the international students who come in for fall show up to that event, and it's just really wonderful. It's a time to have fun and let loose. So if I'm not sure what their plans are for this upcoming fall based on, you know, the COVID situation, but that is generally something that we have because when you transition to a new place, it's good when you are welcomed into that place because sometimes you wonder, how do people feel about me, etc. So when people welcome you and throw a big party for you, it's just very special. And then for other upcoming ICP events, typically for welcome events, we have a group called the UTD International Spouse and Family Group, and we typically do a welcome event for those international students that bring along with them their spouse and or their dependents to UT Dallas. Because it is quite often the case that a lot of the international students, they'll get a lot of support, a lot of emails, a lot of resources, and then the families that they bring with them are just there with, you know, not as much support. So we have a group. It's a group that you can get connected with right now if you are interested. They're on Facebook. We are meeting virtually right now because of COVID. And I can put the link in the chat when I'm finished with the presentation. But we want to welcome the families also because we all know it's really important for a lot of us. Without family support, we would not be able to, you know, be sent to school or be supported in going through school. So we want to recognize and support the family members that are here along with the student that is studying. So we think that's important to recognize. Okay, and that is it for my end. I'll be back, but for now, I will hand it over to Katie.
Thank you, Tamara. Okay. So along with our transitional programs, we also support international students throughout the year. So, and by doing this, we connect students to university resources. So Leticia mentioned the Bursar office earlier. So resources such as that. Also, we have the Office of Graduate Education, Undergraduate Education, the University Career Center. So our office is one of the offices that pretty much knows every support office on campus. And so if you ever have questions about where can you get a certain resource or, you know, what does an office do? How can you find a certain resource? You can always send us an email and we'll be able to assist you and guide you to where that office is or how that office can support you. So we can connect you to certain resources and support that is on campus. We also provide resources for students to succeed here at UTD. So some of those resources we have, if you've checked out our website, we list English support. So there's a lot of English support programs that community volunteers do here at UT Dallas. So on the last slide, Tamara talked about Big Howdy, and they do a welcome party, but they also do other support programs like English classes. They'll do twice a week. They have just English conversation groups on campus, where if you want to casually practice your English with other students and community volunteers in a comfortable setting. So we post those on our website as a way for students to find a way to practice their English. We also do Instagram live programs, and actually Tamara's going to share with you some of the ones that we have coming up. But we provide some Instagram live programs and some other programs about American culture and university culture, about succeeding at the university and how to get to know university culture and American culture. So for example, last semester, Flower and I did a whole presentation about, university lingo and what you might need to know as a new UTD student, and some of the terminology that's used here at UTD that you just might not know if you've never been to UT Dallas, things like that. So we do a lot of presentations and just kind of fun programs around those types of things. Another way we support students is through cultural student organizations. So some of you might have received some of the emails we've sent recently from the Indian Student Association or the Friendship Association of Chinese Students and Scholars, which FACTS they call themselves. We help connect you to some of those cultural student organizations. These cultural student organizations support students from a particular culture or a particular region of the world, and they are gathered together intentionally trying to support students from their particular culture or their particular region. And so we will help them with marketing, we'll help them with outreach to those particular groups of students. Since we're able to send mass emails to all students from a particular country, if ISA, the Indian Student Association, comes to us and says, we'd really like to outreach to all the Indian students on campus, we'll send all the Indian students on campus an email on their behalf to say, here's a letter from the Indian Students Association. So we'll support those cultural student organizations by outreaching to all of you who are from India and give you resources on their behalf. So we're able to do that by supporting the cultural student organizations, who in turn want to support all the students from a particular culture here on campus. And so those student organizations, they provide university resources, and they also provide community resources. They're connected to community organizations here in Dallas and in Richardson. They provide scholarships, they provide a variety of things. They're connected to professors and faculty members here at the university who support students, and so they are very connected. They also provide a lot of different services to students. They can also help you get connected to the community. They provide things like airport pickups, transportation, helping you get an apartment when you're settled here in Dallas, a cell phone, things like that. And so we will support cultural student organizations because we know it's very important to be connected to your peers when you're first getting to campus, and then of course just finding your friendship group here on campus. Next slide, please, Flower. Oh, actually, I'm the one doing this. I'm sorry. And I believe this is Tamara's slide.
Yes, Katie, thank you so much. So to talk about some of the programs that we have that share about the multicultural group that we have here, or the multicultural population that we have here at UT Dallas, and we have a very, very popular program called iFriend. And iFriend is a cultural exchange program. It's an opportunity if you are an international student that would like to learn more about American culture. You are paired with someone that I would say is typically an American student. I guess you could be curious about other cultures as well. And we pair American students that are interested in cultures other than their own. And it's called iFriend. So you build a kind of a friendship, a relationship, and you're able to do activities together, to socialize, to communicate. etc. with your friend. So typically registration for this starts at the beginning of big semesters like fall and spring. So we'll have registration open on the iFriend website closer towards the start of classes. Actually, registration is the first day of classes typically, and they run for about 2 weeks. We get a really good turnout. In the past semesters, we've had close to 200 students participate in that program. So it's a great opportunity. And for international students that say, oh, I want to meet an American friend and, that can help me understand American culture. This is what you are looking for. So we recommend for you to sign up for this when registration is open. And we also provide training opportunity as well so that the interactions that you're having with other individuals, there can be some education for how to interact with people from other cultures. Some other programs that we put on, there's a very large program called iWeek. It's a very traditional program here on the UT Dallas campus. So for those of you who are able to physically start and be here, you definitely do not want to miss iWeek. It's a huge collaboration with many different offices, and we just show off the cultural diversity in many different ways. So we have lectures to share information. We'll typically have like a talent show. We'll have an event called Passport to the World that various cultural organizations and individuals will set up like little booths, and they will just kind of show off their culture. So it's kind of like a cultural expo then, if you could say it that way. So it's really, really huge. It gets a huge turnout from the UT Dallas community, not just students, but like people outside our community show up to this event. And so we just want to encourage you for iWeek, definitely be in attendance. That's one thing that you can do. But another thing is you can have a role in iWeek. You can show off your culture. iWeek is successful because we have people who participate in sharing their culture. So we encourage you that whenever you see, whenever the time comes around for iWeek, which is typically like the end of March, reach back out to us if you have any questions. We typically do information sessions. So if you receive communication from us, we'll let you know and say iWeek is coming, attend our information session to learn how you can participate. And we know a lot of people, they might bring stuff with them from their home, things from their culture to comfort them and just to like show off their culture. So, for those of you who haven't packed as yet, in order to get here, just pack a few things that maybe you can help to show off for us during iWeek. And yeah, we'll look forward to it. Next slide, please. Okay, so Katie did mention the Instagram lives that we have been doing. Because of the working remotely from home, we have kind of added and expanded our programs and events that we typically do. So we do quite a bit of Instagram live events. We do at least one each week, and we have a lot of important information. We have information that can help you to learn about other cultures. And we also make sure that the information is something thinking from the standpoint of an international student and like questions that they might actually have. So we're trying to support you in that way as well. We're trying to think of, okay, what question with someone who's just coming into the American culture, what are some things that we might need to help answer for them? So, but they're fun though. So they're not boring and dry and stiff and formal. We really keep them casual and fun. So hopefully you can join us on Instagram. We are at UTD ICP, so please join us there for our events. We also do interviews with other offices, so if you're curious about what an office does, you can find out there. We also do cultural trips. We typically have done them in the past, where we go to, I would say, typical things that maybe for being an American or maybe being in Texas, this is what maybe the natives or the locals might do, I should say. So in the past, we have like gone to a Dallas Mavericks basketball game. That was the first time I'd ever been to an NBA basketball game. So that was pretty neat. We've also gone on like an overnight trip to a camp. And it was very nice. The students had a lot of fun. So, we do just have so many things that you can participate in. So just please remember that we are doing these things for you as students. Pretty much all of our events are free, so you don't have to worry about, paying for something, or I can't afford to be a part of something. We provide these services for you as students. So please just come out. And if you do have any questions, you can always email us at icprograms@utdallas.edu. And I'll hand it over to Katie.
Thank you, Tamara. So as Leticia mentioned, another part of our mission is the intercultural competency. So we host workshops and training sessions to really expand the global or intercultural competency of the university. So we introduce faculty, staff, and students to kind of the concept of intercultural competency. So for example, one of the workshops we do is just an introduction to intercultural communication or intercultural competency. And so that's just kind of helping people understand how to communicate with people from other cultures, how to understand the differences in communication with people from other cultures, and what is that communication difference, and how to adapt your communication styles when speaking with people from different cultures and people from around the world. We also do global engagement activities. So similar to what Tamara was talking about, some of those programs we do specifically for international students, we do a lot of those global engagement activities that are all for the university. So iWeek is a university-wide activity. We also have other university-wide activities. This picture here is our parade of flags for homecoming. Homecoming is a huge U.S. tradition at most U.S. universities, and so we always have flags that represent every culture that we have, or every country we have represented here at UTD. So that's something you guys can participate in as well. But one of our global engagement activities is we also want to assess how well we are doing in terms of our global engagement and intercultural competency here at UTD. So we have what's called the IES Global Engagement Survey, and this was something brought in by Leticia when she came to UT Dallas. And so that's something that we'll use with iFriend, for example. So our iFriends will take a survey about what their intercultural competency level is before they start the iFriend program, and then after finishing the iFriend program. How much did they learn? How much did they grow throughout the program? And so that way we can see how much people are learning during our programs, and how well are we doing as an office, how well are we doing as a university in teaching intercultural competency and global engagement. Our targeted events for campus global engagement, we have those Instagram live events. So they're not just for students, but we also have some that are targeted more towards faculty and staff members. So Tamara is actually wonderful at these, and she has done some on intercultural communication and intercultural competencies with a particular social psychologist's research. And so she has done a lot to talk about different cultures and comparing against each other, and how to look at it from an outsider's perspective, and how to understand the differences, and working with two and looking at the differences between them. And so we've gotten a lot of people interested in those. She also does ones about just, looking at school systems of different cultures. So, what about Jamaica, and what is the school system like in Jamaica? Or she'll even maybe invite a cultural student organization to do a presentation about their culture. I think she had a really popular one from Bangladesh student organization, and they did a henna demonstration just on Instagram and showed people how to apply henna, and what was the history, and what is the cultural impact of henna, and why is it used. And so simple things like that are very powerful and very important to a particular culture that maybe our faculty, staff, and students here in the United States just don't know, but it's something that's very culturally important to our students' cultures that we want to teach everybody. So we really do try to target some of our events for that campus global engagement. So we're not just trying to teach international students about American culture, we're trying to teach the university about the cultures that are here at UT Dallas. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Tamara to talk about some of those upcoming events that we have going on. Oh,
Yes, thank you, Katie. And Katie, actually, can I ask you to stop sharing your slide? I'm gonna switch you out with Flower.
sure.
And while we're working on that, I would just like to kind of give a maybe a meeting update. We do see that there's some questions coming into the chat. However, we would like to ask if everyone could hold their questions until the end of the presentation, because sometimes people ask questions about information that we are going to share, but we just haven't shared it as yet. So if you could please hold your questions, there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions. Questions related to our office, I am sure I've seen some questions that are not related to our office, but just hold on a second, we'll get there. Okay, so let's see, Flower, is your slide? Okay, actually, it seems as though her Wi-Fi might have fallen off. Let me go ahead and share my slide. 1 second, everyone, please. Thank you.
I can share it, Tamara. That way you can present.
Well, it's okay. I have it up.
Okay.
Okay. So let me just move this. Perfect. All right. So Katie mentioned we still are having and hosting events, of course, during this time of working virtually. And some of you have already joined us for events, but if you haven't, please come ahead and join us online. The great things about these events is that because they're virtual, you can access them at any time, because our events are recorded and uploaded, so you can rewatch them on our social media, on our Instagram. So we are inviting you to join us virtually and to interact with us virtually as well. So just to name some upcoming events that we have a series called Know the States. There's a little bit of a pun in there, right? The states, like the United States, and then we talk about the different states within the United States. And the premise for this is because as international students who are studying at UT Dallas, we know that, of course, you're going to be in Texas, but you will also seek employment opportunities outside of Texas, right? Because at the end of the day, you're trying to get a job, and if your job takes you to Florida or New York, etc., then you're going to go there. So we're going to give you this information so you can know a bit about that state and about the culture of that state, because different states have very different cultures. Trust me, if you go to New York or California and come to Texas, it's almost like different countries. So we're giving you that information so that if you do get opportunity to travel there for fun or for internship, externship, for employment, you can have some concept as to what that place is about. So we have that coming up. And then on the 10th, we also have an event that we're doing along with a student organization called ICF. It's called How to Rent an Apartment. That is a question that a lot of international students will have in their transition, because of course you have to have a place that you live in. That event will be at 7 p.m. and that is based on the presenter's availability. But don't worry, as I said, we're all keeping calm during these times. So if you're unable to make it at 7 p.m., we will have the video. It's going to be recorded and uploaded to our page, so you can just rewatch it at whatever day and time is convenient to you. Another event that we have, we're going to talk about national dishes, the kind of official and unofficial national dishes of various countries around the world. And then we're also going to talk on June the 17th with a student organization called Eco UTD. We're going to talk to them about Texas nature. So they're going to tell us and say, okay, what are maybe like some of the top 5 animals you might see in Texas, or what are some of the top 5 plants? I remember when I came to America from Jamaica, I could not really recognize, much of the plant species that was here, because being from a tropical country, I was used to trees that had fruits on them, and you can't really find that here in Texas. So just kind of giving you some information to make you culturally aware. Next slide, please. Excuse me. Well, that would be me. Okay, and here's our contact information for you to contact us. A lot of you already know this, but we can be contacted through icprograms@utdallas.edu. Please allow 2 business days for us to respond. We know students are trying to contact us with various questions. However, please know that we respond to queries in the order that we receive them. So you can email us and contact us, but if you haven't heard from us as yet, it means that we are addressing other queries that we have received probably before yours. So just allow us 2 business days and we will get back to you. Our number, I think that might be Katie's number, but if you'd like to try to call, we're at 972, that should be 883 4528, but really email is the best way. Email really is the best way. You don't have to worry about putting money to call International. Just email us, because sometimes when you call us, we might ask you to like email us depending on what your query is. So I would just get in the email queue. Our website is there, utdallas.edu/ICP, or Instagram also at ICP, and we're on Facebook. .com/UTD-ICP. Okay, and I'm going to switch this over to Katie.
Thank you, Tamara. So yes, we have 2 more information sessions coming up. There's going to be more, don't worry, but these were the 2 that fit on my slide. So next week on June 16th at 9 a.m. Central Time, we have Paying Your Tuition and Fees with Lisa from the Bursar office. And so this will be all about how you can pay your tuition and fees. Title says it all, right? So I know that's everybody's favorite topic. And so it's just going to be another team session just like this one. And then on Tuesday, June 22, that's going to be our FACS orientation. So if you are a student from China, this is the Friendship Association of Chinese Students and Scholars. They will be presenting all about their organization, their services, and how they can support you as a student from China and their activities. And if you are not a student from China, you are still more than welcome to join, because they can still support you. We will also be having another session similar to this with the Indian Students Association as well the following week. Sorry, I'm bumping my microphone. But I believe our next slide, please, is questions. I think you just have to go to the next.
Yeah, I'm trying to move it forward, but it is not moving forward. Okay, let me try. Okay.
Stuck. Okay, so for questions, if you have a question, go ahead and use the raise hand function. I have it circled on the screen, so you can just click the raise hand function. And Tamara, I know you're sharing your screen, so I'm happy to take a look at who is raising their hand. And I'll be able to see the order. So those of you who are raising your hand, I'm going to, you'll either be able to turn on your microphone and camera, or you can type your question in the messages. Flower, I might ask for your help to answer questions in the chat or read questions in the chat. So our first question is from Parvinder Singh. Parvinder, if you'd like to turn on your microphone, or you can type your question in the chat box.
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my question is I am getting the TB slot on 12 August, but my quarantine period will not be over. So what are the options I can go for?
So you're getting your TB slot, you have it on the 12th, you said?
Yeah, it's 12 August 2021. So
okay.
What are my options?
Okay, but you said your quarantine period won't be over on the 12th.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there is another TB slot available, and you can always email the Student Health Center. So we can provide you with the Student Health Center's email address to ask what or you can, I guess what you can do is you can apply for another TV slot. There is a TV slot on the 20th. It depends on which student orientation you applied for. And so you can always just re-register for a different international student orientation slot, and then you can choose the later TV slot date. And you can always email the student organization, I don't know why I'm saying student organization, student health center, and you can ask them about, you know, is it okay for me to come during my quarantine period, or should I wait and just apply for the later TV slot date? The Student Health Center might be able to give you the best guidance on that one, to be honest, because they are in charge of the TB test. So they would probably be able to give you the best answer for that one.
Yeah, can I get the
Did you have an answer, a different
address?
answer for that?
If I may just, I would like to continuing with what Katie mentioned, which is the right thing to do for you to contact the health center. We've been looking at some of your most common questions through the chat, and I would like to address some of them, and then of course continue with the rest of your questions. Concerning quarantines, concerning specific guidelines, please make sure to follow. I'm putting on the chat, just follow this link to get specific guidelines. We really cannot go over to each specific case, but there you will find very specific guidelines, whether if you are vaccinated or if you are not vaccinated yet when you arrive to the United States. Some of you have asked concerning quarantines. To arrive to the United States, vaccination is not required, but you will be required to have the COVID test prior to get into the airline. But all those specifications, I really would prefer if you take a deep into that link and you can find most of your answers, because we had a lot of questions concerning quarantines and vaccination. So I really would like to encourage you to read that document, and I'm sure you will find your answers. If you're not, please feel free to write us later. Another common question that I saw was concerning the TB test. Some of you, and Katie already answered that specific questions if you are still on quarantine, but some of you have received an email I read on one of your comments concerning not being able to combine the COVID vaccine and the TB test for a certain amount of time. If you have received that email from the health center, just please continue your communication with the health center for further advice. You will learn when you get here that we specialize very much concerning each department. We decentralize, so we really cannot give you specific answers concerning another department's duties, such as the health center. They are very, very interested in serving you. So I'm sure if you write to them, once you read the quarantine and the requirements, the guidelines that apply to your vaccination status, just write to the health center, and I am sure that they will be able to answer your specific question, regardless of the situation. Another common question that I saw is concerning ISSO. Yes, this is a very busy time for ISSO right now, as they are sending all the immigration documents to all students applying. Please be patient, they will get back to you, but keep trying specifically with ISSO directly, as we really cannot give you a specific answer concerning when you will receive your I-20 or if you have a specific question. But they will get back to you, trust me, they will. Another question, this is very interesting, and we are very, very pleased to I mean, we really would like to ask you to report to us if you are not receiving our emails. Some of you mentioned that either from ISA or from us. From ISA, we would encourage you to write to them directly, but for ICP emails, please let us know through the chat or write into our ICP programs at utdallas.edu so we can add you to our information list. We usually send you maybe 1 or 2 emails per month, and usually including all the recommendations and important information that you should read before your arrival. Okay, I hope I have addressed some of your questions, the most common questions. Tamara, Katie, please go ahead and continue with.
And Leticia, regarding students who are not receiving our emails, I've reached out to the person who assists us with sending emails to students. So
Okay.
just in general, we have a database that pulls students' information. And so that's what we use to pull all of your information to send you emails. And so some of you have reached out to us to say, oh, my friend received an email, but I didn't receive an email. I don't know why. And I saw some of those in our inbox this morning. And so I have reached out to the person who helps us with this, manage this database, or they manage the database for us, and to find out why are some students getting pulled and some students not getting pulled. And it's mainly just a factor of something was clicked and something was not clicked in terms of a student's record. And so I am working on it to make sure all of you will be receiving the correct information and the correct emails. And so don't worry, we will be fixing it. And so, you know, with technology, sometimes a student's information, sometimes it takes 24 to 48 hours for the process to get updated and the email to go through with technology. And so we will be sharing that information or sending you as many emails as we can. So please continue to check your email, continue to check your spam email too. Sometimes that gets filtered to that sometimes. So it could just be a small glitch in the technology system that happened. So we are aware of it, and I have reached out to our technology coordinator to make sure that we were getting that fixed and updated as soon as possible. But it looks like the next person raising their hand is Mehak. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If you'd like to turn on your microphone and you can ask your question.
Ma'am.
Yes, I can hear you.
Ma'am, so today I registered for my TB test. It's on 12th of August, and I have just received a mail stating that the international student orientation is on 22nd August. So is it in-person orientation?
If you registered for the 22nd August orientation, that is the online orientation.
But
so
my classes are from 23rd August.
I know. So with the online orientation, you'll get access to that within a few business days upon registering. So we'll be providing you access to that in the e-learning system. So you'll have, once you have access to it in e-learning, you can take it at your leisure. So you'll have access to that within a few business days. And as soon as you take it, within about 3 business days of completing it and the pre-arrival modules, your hold will be removed and you'll be all set to go.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome. And I'm going, thank you for, I'm going to lower your hand, Mahak. And then our next person is Nadia.
Hi.
Nadia.
Yeah.
Nadia.
Hi. So the same thing. I have registered for 12th August for my TB test. So when is the latest date I can arrive in the US? For example, my visa slot comes in July end. So, and I am coming there and my quarantine is not getting over. So, and is there an option to modify the TB test date and then the in-person orientation?
Yes, absolutely. If you want to change your international student orientation or TB test date, all you have to do is resubmit the form. So you can just go back into your Orion Center and you can resubmit and choose a different date for either the International Student Orientation or the TB test date. So if your visa status changes, like, so if you get, if you can't get your visa on the date you think you're going to get it and you think it's going to be later, so you want to switch to online orientation or a later orientation date or TB test date, we know that might happen for some students. You can just choose a different date and you can switch. That's perfectly fine.
So yeah, one more thing. So until we get the TB results, can we not able to attend the classes? Is it so?
I think that question is going to be best directed to the Student Health Center. From my understanding right now, the TB test, they will put a positive service indicator on your account. As long as you're taking it on campus, they put a positive service indicator on your account once you take the test. And so that just means a positive service indicator is kind of like an anti-hold. So it's just showing to you that you took the test on campus, which is a good thing. And if it comes back saying that if your test comes back negative, that's good. So you can go to class. If it comes back positive, then they will contact you and say you need to go for further testing. So that and they'll actually put an official hold on your account, which means that you cannot attend classes. But you should also double check with the Student Health Center. So the earlier you get your TB test done, the better. Just to make sure that you do not have an actual TB test hold on your account on the first day of classes or anything like that.
Yeah, thank you. No, I was asking how long it takes for the TB results to show up. How long it takes? Yeah.
Oh, I should know the answer to this question because I had this in my it says it in the pre-arrival module slides. It usually takes about 2 to 4 business days, I believe, for the results to show up on your account, I want to say. But you can double check with the Student Health Center.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so my next question is from Ria Dagad. And I think we can take one more question after you. Hello, Ria.
Hi, I'm from India, and I have a question regarding the International Student Orientation that is going to be held on 17th of August. So it's going to be in person, right?
Yes, it is.
So if I plan on traveling a bit before that to UT Dallas, and as far as I am aware, I'll be fully vaccinated by the time I arrive, and after I arrive, I'll have to take another COVID test after 3 to 5 days, I think. I'm not really sure, but that's what I read the last time I was on the website. So I even have to go for the TB test and the COVID test, both of them. So which one should I take first? Is it something like I cannot register for TB test until I'm done with my COVID test and it comes negative after I reach like Dallas?
If I may answer that, yes, we have just learned that there should be space between the COVID vaccine and the TB test. However, again, please contact the health center. We really cannot, do not have specific answers concerning your specific case. And it will be much better if you contact the health center. I'm sure they will get back to you. But since it is a very delicate question, I understand what you're saying. You need to know if you get the COVID vaccine, what would be better to do the TB test or the COVID vaccine. Please refer your question directly to the health center. Now, let's say that they tell you about the COVID vaccine, that it would be better if you get that one first. The health center, as Katie mentioned, is managing the halls of each one of the students, but this is why it's very important that you communicate with them, because if they advise you to take the COVID vaccine and have to wait to take the TB test, they will be managing your hall in a different way because they have advised you to. And this is why for every particular question concerning health, please contact the health center. And by the way, we are organizing a session with the health center. I don't have the date. Do you have it at hand, Katie? The date where we will have the session with the health center. In the meanwhile, just contact them directly, and I'm sure they will get back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, on July 20th, we have a session with the Student Health Center to talk about healthcare in the United States. I did just put the Student Health Center's email address in the messages, so for those of you who might not know it. And we are running a little late on our session, so I can take one more question, I think. And it looks like Prithviraj Patil, you are our next question.
Katie, I'm sorry, one second. If I could just quickly mention, a lot of the questions that we received were about some of the same things. So, sorry, let me turn my camera on. I put a link of a lot of contacts from the ISSO, the Health Center, Bursar, etc., because we posted some links at the beginning of the meeting, but with all of the questions from the chat, I'm sure a lot of people are not necessarily looking in the past to see if their question might have already been answered. So please, the chat will be available even when the meeting ends. So I suggest you consult the chat to see if your question has already been answered, if we haven't already answered it for you, and also check out the links that are available. And yeah, we'll all stay calm and we'll all get our questions answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara.
And we are very excited about your question. This is the purpose of these information sessions. As you know, some of the questions we can only direct you on how to reach the appropriate department, but we know right now what are your main concerns, and we hope that we have given you the appropriate information concerning the links that you should read. Regardless, we can be reached by email or by phone if you prefer, so please do so. This is our job. We would like to support you as much as we can, and we completely understand you're coming into a new country, you're coming into an atmosphere that is not familiar with you, and you must have a lot of questions. We're here to support you. Thank you very much.
Okay, but I will allow, I had announced that Prithviraj could ask their question. So Prithviraj, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, hi ma'am, good morning. Actually, I wanted to ask if any other dates are going to be available for international orientation. Currently, I only see 3rd of August and 22nd of August.
Yeah.
Because we don't have our visa slots, so we are not sure like when we will arrive in Dallas. So.
Yes, this is a question that we're getting asked a lot. So actually, we are looking to see if we can add extra slots to our international student orientation dates currently, and we are looking to see if we can add extra dates. So we do not have a definite answer yet, but we are hopefully going to have an answer for that one this week. So as you know, with the COVID-19 situation, we have limited seating capacity in most of our spaces here on campus, which is why we had to kind of limit the amount of seats that we have in our auditoriums. And so we are trying to do our best with we want to keep all of our students safe, so we have to social distance our spaces, and so that's why we have to limit the amount of seats that we have in terms of our auditorium. But I'm going to take a look to see, can we add extra seats. And so if that happens, we'll of course be able to post an announcement on our webpage to let people know that there are extra seats available if that's possible. If we do open an extra date, we will announce that via our website and via email. It does take a lot of coordination on our part because we have to coordinate with the spaces that are available on campus, and we have to coordinate to see if we can have an extra TV slot available for you, because we want to make sure that if there's an extra orientation date, there can be extra TV slots available as well. So if we do open that, we will make an announcement as soon as we have that available. And so hopefully we can make that announcement this week. But we are looking into that because we know that you're concerned about your visa dates and you're not able to get those earlier in August. You might be getting those later in August. So we're trying to get that done as quickly as possible. So I'm sorry that I don't have a definite yes answer on that right now, but we are trying to do that as soon as we can for you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. But do consider online orientation as an option. That has unlimited capacity. And that's, so if you do want to do the online orientation, you can choose the August 22nd date. I've set the capacity as pretty much unlimited. And so I know that a lot of people are excited to come to an in-person session. The nice thing is, while all of you might see an international student orientation hold on your account, it does not currently prevent you from registering for classes. So you'll see the hold on your account, but the start date isn't until August 23rd. I did this specifically. So that way it doesn't actually go into effect until the first day of classes. So it doesn't actually prohibit you from registering for classes right now. And so that way it actually isn't affecting you right now, which is a really good thing. And so as long as you complete all of your orientation requirements by the first day of classes, you're all set. So I'll remove, or Tamara and I will remove your holds as you're completing all of your orientation requirements. And as long as you do that by the first day of classes, you're all good to go. So that's why we did that specifically, because we wanted to make sure you could get the classes that you needed, because I know many of you have already had your academic orientations and you've met with your academic advisors and everything like that. Okay. Well, I know a few of you still had some questions. If you still have questions, you can send us an email. I know Tamara and I both put the IC programs email in the messages section in the chat. Leticia or Tamara, did you guys have something extra to add?
No, Katie.
I had something, Katie.
Oh, Flower has something. Okay.
Yes. I noticed that a lot of students were talking about the TB test. I definitely advise to check the health center, because some people my skin test on the website, they do specify which TB test is accepted.
Oh, yes, that's a very good point. So if you are going off campus, there is a specific TB test that has to be taken. So make sure that you review the Student Health Center's information about the particular TB test that is accepted. And so they have all of that information posted on their website. Thank you, Flower. That's good information.
Yes, and somebody was asking as well, how can they register for the TB test? Once you get into the orientation registration, you will have the chance to choose a date for your TB test. And again, as Katie mentioned, if you, for some reason, because of quarantine, because of the COVID vaccine, or for any other reason, you can always change your orientation and TB test date. So please try not to worry about it. Of course, you have to do it yourself. Once you do register, we cannot change that registration. You have to do it yourself, resubmitting. Can you explain a little bit about that, Katie? How can students change either a TB test or a registration for orientation?
Yeah, all of the instructions are on our website, our International Student Orientation website. Like Leticia said, we actually cannot change the date for you, but you can change it yourself. So when you go into the Orion Applicant Center and you see the International Student Orientation tile, and you can select your International Student Orientation date, and then it'll lead you to a certain set of TV test dates that you can select. It'll, after you've already registered, if you wait 24 hours, it'll give you the option to change your date. So when you go back into that same tile, you'll see an option to change your date. So it does take about 24 hours for the system to process and update. And so you can then click on the link that'll say, you know, change your registration, and you can change the date, and then you can also change your TV test date. So you'll be able to do the same thing. It's really basically submitting, just resubmitting the same form. So if you decide you want to change your International Student Orientation date, maybe you choose to, you first selected online orientation, then decide to come to in-person or vice versa, or maybe you just want to change your TV test date only, you can do that as well. Keep in mind that the TV test dates are kind of tied to the orientation date that you selected. So if you're coming to orientation on August 3rd, you'll only see a certain set of TV test dates. And that's because we want to make sure you can take your TV test date close to your orientation date. So we want to make sure that you can select a certain TV test date that's close to your orientation date, and it's better for you that way. So you can get that hold removed as soon as possible. Okay, well, I think that's everything. So did you have anything else, Leticia?
Just if while we are here, we know that some students are still with us, which we appreciate it. If anyone has any other question that we can answer, we will be very pleased to do so. If you can raise your hand, the better.
Oh, okay. Well, we have one person, Sanuja.
So I was wondering, with respect to this online international orientation, so when will the modules be available for us, to go through, and when is the last date to complete it? Like you answered that question before as like August 22nd is the last date, but when will be the beginning date?
Well, so if you've already registered for it, it takes between 2 and 3 business days for us to give you access to it. So it's kind of a process. So since you register through Orion, it takes Orion about a day for us to, at least a business day for us to get the information from their system, and then we have to give you access in e-learning. But it does take a few business days for us to be able to give you access to it. And then you'll see after 2, maybe at 3 at most business days, you'll see access in e-learning. And then you can take it at your leisure. We've posted on our website and in the instructions that you should have received through the Orion email, we recommend completing it by the 19th of August. And that's because we want to make sure that your hold is removed very much prior to the first day of classes. Because if you'll see, we've told you in the pre-arrival modules and posted on our website, it says that if you have any holds remaining on your account on the first day of classes, there are ramifications. Your classes, you have the potential for your classes to be dropped, and there could be a re-registration fee, and your potential classes that you want might no longer be available. So that's why the deadline truly for you, we recommend for you to finish your online orientation is August 19th. So luckily you have more than 2 months right now to complete it, and it will not take you 2 months to complete it, I promise. It should not take you much longer than an hour to complete the online orientation. So yes, but it takes us about 2 to 3 business days for us to give you access to it. And then once you complete it and the pre-arrival modules, it'll take us another 2 to 3 business days to get your hold removed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Excellent. Well, it looks like there's no other hands raised and no other questions. And I saw that Tamara posted some good resources, the post-arrival and pre-arrival checklists in the chat. So yes, please use those. Those are helpful tools that she worked on very hard to help you. And this session will be recorded and posted on our YouTube page. And so that link will be posted on our International Student Orientation website, so you can review this session at your leisure afterwards as well. But thank you so much for attending.